Day 1, Monday. At dawn, Penelope gave me a wake-up call. She poured a bucket full of icy water on my head. "Line up!" she shrieked. I looked outside. That's when I discovered there were 4 other mice taking this crazy jungle course. I was about to slip into the green jumpsuit I'd found in my closet. But even though I was in the hot jungle, I'd put on a clean undershirt first. I love my undershirts. I wear one all the time, even in the summer. That's because I'm afraid of drafts. Unfortunately, Penelope was watching me. Before I could put one paw through my undershirt, she snatched it away and squeaked at the top of her lungs. "Real mice don't wear undershirts, Stilton." I cringed, then put on the jumpsuit. Penelope threw an enormous backpack at me. It weighed a ton. I'd be lucky if I could take one paw step. Meanwhile, Penelope lifted her own backpack without batting an eyelash. Then I followed her outside. "Forward! March!" she yelled. We left camp and began our long trek. I introduced myself to the other mice. "Good morning, everyone," I said. "My name is Stilton, Geronimo Stilton." A big, tough, muscled mouse nodded at me. He wore his fur in a crew cut.
"I'm Bert Burleyrat, and you can call me BB,
he announced.
I'm a forest ranger."
Next to BB stood a short, round rodent. He clasped my paw.
"How do you do? My name is Tubby Tumblemouse," he said.
Then he whispered,
"My friends call me Furball."
I smiled. Tubby seemed like a nice mouse. I wondered why he had signed up for this course. Tubby told me he was a cheese sales mouse. He had put on a few extra pounds eating too many samples.
"I thought this was an easy weight loss course. Miss Poisonbird told me it would be like a mini vacation," he explained.
Sweat dripped down his fur.
"She didn't tell me we'd be forced to run 20 miles a day."
"What?" I stammered, sinking under the heavy backpack. 20 miles a day? I'm never going to make it. I've got low blood pressure. I've got low iron. I've got low self-esteem. This was going to be worse than I thought. "Oh, how did I get myself into this mess?" I sobbed, burying my snout in my paws. Tubby put his paw around my shoulder.
"Don't panic, Geronimo," he whispered. "I brought an emergency supply of cheese sandwiches. They're hidden in my backpack."
Just then, a teenaged mouse with pigtails scampered over. "Hi there," she chirped. "I'm Susie Squeakers." Next came an elderly female rodent. She was small and skinny with wiry fur. She wore a pair of thick glasses and a purple baseball cap. She introduced herself as Sandy Silverfur. Sandy was old, but you wouldn't find her in any old mouse home, not yet anyway. Sandy loved to live dangerously. In fact, you could say she was a bit of a daredevil. She once went scuba diving off the shores of Tomcat Island. Unlike Sandy and BB, hiking through the jungle was not my idea of a good time. Within minutes, my paws were covered with blisters. Suddenly, a terrible screeching filled the air. It was Penelope singing. "I'm a wild rodent. I have a wild heart. Nothing ever scares me because I'm tough and smart. This course is really super. You learn to be a trooper. You learn to march and sweat and sing. You learn to do most anything." I grumbled. That was the most ridiculous song I had ever heard. Who likes to march? But soon the rest of the group was singing along. Well, you wouldn't catch me joining in. I wasn't into singing. I was having enough trouble just breathing. Then someone waved the contract under my snout. It was Penelope. "You signed it, Stilton. Now sing," she demanded. "Sing or you'll be sorry." Her beady little eyes drilled right through me. I shivered. Then I sang at the top of my lungs. I was so busy singing, I hardly noticed we had entered the forest. Trees as tall as skyscrapers surrounded us. The foliage was so thick we couldn't see any sunlight. The trees were home to all kinds of animals. They called to one another as we passed by. Monkeys, parrots, cheetahs, and snakes watched our every move. We were like rodent celebrities at an awards show, only no one was snapping our picture. Instead, they were snapping their teeth. This tropical jungle was a very scary place. One wrong paw step, and we'd all be history. We marched, and marched, and marched, and marched. And then, we marched some more. We didn't even stop for a meal. Instead, Penelope handed out sandwiches as we hiked. Unfortunately, they were not cheese sandwiches. They were made of mashed fleas. I had never seen anything so gross in my life. Some of the fleas were still kicking their tiny legs. I was so disgusted, but I was so hungry, I ate every bite. We were allowed to stop only to go to the bathroom. Penelope timed us, 15 seconds for each mouse. For any other emergency, we had to hand in a written request. I quickly jotted down a note. Dear Ms. Poisonfur, it read, would it be possible to take a short break? Penelope read the note out loud, then laughed. You city rodents are spineless, she smirked. You're as soft as a bowl of cheese with extra cream, Stilton. She twirled her tail deep in thought. This may be harder than I thought, she murmured. But don't worry, I'll fix you. When you're done with this course, you'll be stronger than a maximum strength glue trap. And best of all, you'll be smarter than the sharpest street mouse in all of New Mouse City. We marched for the rest of the day. When it turned dark, the jungle became even more terrifying. Spooky shadows were everywhere. Strange eyes glowed in the trees. Night birds sang to one another. And I'm not talking happy jingles. These songs sounded more like creepy Halloween music. Worst of all, it was dark. Very dark. Did I mention I'm afraid of the dark? But I was forced to forget about it. I had to put one paw in front of the other. I had no choice. Finally, at midnight, we stopped. We were so tired. We sat down around a fire. Come and get it, shouted Penelope, banging on a pot with a spoon. I was starving. I grabbed my bowl and began to slurp up the reddish liquid. Seconds later, I started to gag. Blech! What's this? I cried. Penelope sneered. That's red ant soup, Stilton, she squeaked. Eat it, or you'll be sorry. The rest of us looked at one another. We looked at the soup. Then we looked at Penelope. She glared at us, her paws planted firmly on her hips. The soup looked scary, but Penelope looked like a rabid cat about to go on a hunting spree. Like robots, we picked up our spoons and ate. I was so tired I could hardly chew. Later, I fell asleep with my snout in my bowl. Oh well, at least no one was bothered by my snoring.